We are back. Tap the screen. Oh, that's a new thing. Okay, it's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV Live. Persistence beats resistance. You know what it is. So we're gonna get right into this. First of all, I'm gonna talk about last weekend's what went down, and then if any of you guys want to tap in, then let us know and we'll get into that section. We'll break it up. So first of all, I want to start with a fight that I actually went to, and I noticed that a lot of the channels, none of them actually even touched on it. I was very surprised. It's just like it just went completely under the radar. I had the fortunateness of being invited by Off the Canvas down to Crystal Palace to watch my old gymnasium club mate, stable mate, Isaac Chamberlain. He was fighting Dylan Prazovic, who was mandatory for Lawrence Okoli. In Lawrence Okoli's last fight, Lawrence Okoli got rid of him in the third round via a swiping body shot as Prazovic tried to go around the corner and drift off. And yeah, it was in Crystal Palace Sports Centre, packed house. You had the likes of Big Nasty there, C-Biz, Eddie Caddy, who's a fellow Congolese man. Yeah, Tunde there. Yeah, Dean White, Spencer Fearon, Joshua Boatsi, Dwayne Sinclair. So it was quite a star-studded crowd. You had a good undercard. You had this Aaron McKenna, the McKenna brothers. They was both there. Shout out Mulla, Aisha Free, Saj. Yeah, you had the McKenna brothers on. They brought their Irish contingency there. Very lively crowd indeed. They was doing some chanting. Me and Off the Canvas was listening into some of the lyrics, and they was talking about IRA, which was very interesting. But hey, they was there to support their guy, and it was a packed house at Crystal Palace. So yeah, Isaac Chamberlain, he come out. He's had like 3 bouts around like this year, very early finishes. This was his 4th. This was the first time him making the under 200 pound cruiserweight limit since the February 2018 when he fought Lawrence Okoli. He fought once after that in October against Luke Watkins, beat him on points, but he weighed in at 203. Other than that, he's been weighing like 205, 209, 202. So he come in, looked a lot more ripped and stuff like that. Shout out Big Mike, looked a lot more ripped in his appearance and stuff, and looked ready to go. So he come out, he had some hip hop playing, but he also had some Congolese drummers. They looked like very like native guys from his fellow country. They had all the attire, and they was playing the tribal Congolese beats, which was a very nice touch, and the crowd was going wild. Shout out Pugilist. Thank you, Big Mike. And yes, Prajovic, he was coming in 15 wins, 12 KOs, 1 loss only to Lawrence Okoli in his world title stint where he was mandatory. So this was a very big step up and test on paper for Isaac Chamberlain. So things got kicked off as the bell went. Early doors, Prazovic, he landed a big left hook which buckled on the sort of the side of the head area, the temple, which sort of buckled the legs of Isaac. The commentary team didn't even pick it up, but you could hear it, and I was like, oh man. And Isaac, he looked very like concerned, like he sort of got caught by surprise. And then Prazovic landed another big left hook. So I was like, oh my god, he is a puncher, because 12 KOs at 15 wins, that means you can dig. I was thinking, okay, this is getting a bit, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And then Isaac decided, I could see his eyes turn, and he sort of bit down on his gum shield and started going for it. He landed a nice jab in between before the second left hook landed on him, and then bit down his gum shield, started going to work, and then sort of teed up and started going to the body. Prajovic didn't like it. It seems that's a bit of a weakness for him, and Isaac landed another right to the head, left hook to the body. Prajovic went down and didn't beat the count. and that was a very good win, first round win. And you know, I think what kept Isaac up with them big left hooks, them drums, because them drums were still going throughout the whole entire fight, by the way. So he was tapping into some, you know, some Nanny Ogun's spirit energy, you know, them drums. That he was digging into some powers. So shout out to Isaac Chamberlain, great first round win. He does need some rounds still, because he hasn't really had rounds since 2018. He's been taking everyone out in the first and second rounds, even Isprazovic, who was highly ranked and just a world title challenger, who was a mandatory. And so yeah, Isaac's won the IBF International Cruiserweight title. That makes him mandatory now for Marius Bradis. Shout out Ash Jones, Sports News 909, CM Rogers 81. So it makes him mandatory for Marius Bradis. Obviously we know he's not going to go straight into that, but it's putting him up the rankings. But I was surprised to see, and I noticed that even on BoxRec, Isaac's not even he's not even ranked. If you look on BoxRec, he's not ranked in Britain or world for some reason. It doesn't say inactive, because he hasn't been inactive. He's had about 5 fights in the past 13-14 months, all been televised, you know, on Channel 5 by Hennessy Sports. Him and Shakan Pitters and what's the other guy, the one who fought Ted Cheeseman, the Birmingham dude with the tattoos. His name slipped me, but I'm not going to keep drumming into my head, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Those 3 are like the main flag bearers of Channel 5. Yeah, there were great body shots, pugilists. They're the main flag bearers of Channel 5, Isaac being one of them, Shakan Pitters being one, and Sam Eggington, that's the one, being the other. Thank you, Ash Machine, Mr. Cobbles. But yeah, so who would you like to see Isaac Chamberlain going with next? Possibly, you know, there's still a plethora of British guys. There's Jack Massey. I've seen that one's being spoken about as being next. Jack Massey being a potential opponent. There's Chris Billam-Smith, the European champion, but I think he's got a scheduled mandatory. When I interviewed Shane McGuigan, he said he had a mandatory coming up, so I guess he's got to deal with that. So a Jack Massey fight would be a good option. He doesn't really he ain't tied up to any promotional company. Obviously Richard Riakporhe is with Boxer. He's got the WBC International, so he's going down a different route. That's like the Makabu route, and potentially the big Canelo, if, you know, in an ideal world, but you know, things like that happen. But yeah, great to see Isaac Chamberlain doing well, and yeah, I hope he just gets ranked and people start to take note, because I noticed no platform really mentioned it. Shout out to Off the Canvas for bringing me in. You know, we had a good chat with Tundi and Spencer while we was there. You know, caught up with Dean White a bit, and yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night of boxing. A lot of guys down there. We'll move on now. Oh, but Isaac Chamberlain also, you know, he's got quite a good CV as well. If you talk about, you know, some of his past wins, he beat Russ Henshaw, who was unbeaten at the time, 6-0, beat Wally Camacho for the Southern area, beat Luke Watkins, who's a good name. So, you know, he's got some good guys around there. Next, we'll move on. Shout out Gilberto WBA. Huh? Is this Gilberto Mendoza? Okay, shout out, man. Right, okay, we're getting a scene. Next up, we're talking about Conor Benn. He was fighting on the DAZN show. Very good win, big knockout. Obviously the first knockdown, even though it looked dramatic, and he had my man doing the roly-poly, but that was a cuff and a trip. But yeah, the knockout was beautiful. 1-2 straight down the pipe. He landed it in the round before, and one of the commentary team, I don't know if it was Andy Lee or Darren Barker, was saying, yeah, that's the thing he should do, because he's who's that? Ash Jones. One sec, Ash, let me just get through this thing first, and I'll get you straight on. He had the earmuffs on, because Conor likes to, you know, wing them round. you know, like his old man and that. So the best bet was to go through the middle. And so when he landed that 1-2, that just slumped him. You know, that really just slumped him. We know, you know, he's 37 now. He's a sports analyst. He's a sports science, like nutritionist now. So he has clients doing nutrition. Yes, Chamberlain will fight anyone. Yeah, he's a nutritionist now. And he ain't really a boxer now. But great win for Conor Benn. You know, you go through, you're talking about Adrian Granados, Samuel Vargas, Sebastian Formella. Even though I haven't seen Sebastian actually beat anybody, all I know him for is he took a mad beating off of Sean Porter first. Shout out Xavier Miller. He took a big beating off of Sean Porter first, and then he got him with Conor Benn and took another beating. But who I'd like to see Conor Benn in with, one, I'd like to see him get in with the guy who's just completely gone under the radar from everybody. Okay, people talk about they want to see him against David Avenetian, but that's European. That's, you know, that might be a step too far. Eddie Hearn saying 1 or 2 fights. Okay, but in between that 1 or 2 fights, how about you fight the British and Commonwealth champion Ikaw Essuman, who is 14-0, I believe, or 15-0, 8 KOs, British and Commonwealth champion, the British Botswanian fighter. He's got, even in the amateurs, he was a good amateur. He beat Ted Cheeseman and Lewis Ritson. So Ikaw Essuman would be a great matchup. I don't know why nobody's talking about that. Or if you want to sort of let him on the leash and he sees himself as world level. Okay, we're not talking about my guys like Jaron Ennis. That's too far. Virgil Ortiz, very good fight, too far. But then there could be guys like Kudratilo Abdu Kakarov. You could get him in with Cody Coley. Shout out Evolve. Cody Coley. You could get him in with Radzab Butayev, the WBA regular, whatever you want to call it. Or Egidijus Kavalauskas, the one who fought Terence Crawford, who dropped Terence Crawford, but they didn't give it a count. But you know what happened. K Prosper. Oh, K Prosper's fighting Essuman next, yeah? Okay, that'd be a good fight, actually. Because K Prosper's only loss is to Sandor Martin, and we know Sandor Martin, what he just done. But I'd like to see Conor Benn fight someone like Ikaw Essuman. You know, Nigel Benn, he won the Commonwealth title. I forgot who it was he beat back in the day for it, and he defended it once or twice, and then obviously he fought Michael Watson and lost it. So Conor should go down that, try and win the British title. You know, win something his dad didn't do. You know, that would be a good thing. Sort of like what Eubank Jr. did. He won the British title, didn't he? Because it was something his dad never did. So, you know, if something good like that would be good. Or he could fight Kudratilo, Abdu Kakarov, Cody Coley, Radzab Butayev, Egidijus Kavalauskas, you know. Guys like that. Michael McIntosh. Who's that? You mean McKinson, Saj? I think you mean McKinson. Jaron Ennis is now mandatory to Errol Spence. Yes, I know that. But he ain't going to get the shot anytime soon. Because, what's his name? That guy who just got beat, he was mandatory for a while. But it doesn't mean you're going to get a shot. You could still be waiting 300 days, 600 days. You could be waiting a madness time. Look at what they're doing to Dillian White, for Christ's sake. Well, he's finally got it now. Yes, Ash Jones. Mario Barrios, he is fighting. He's fighting soon. Who's he fighting again? Keith Thurman, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah. On to Lomachenko. He fought Richard Comey. You know, enough showboating. Good angles. Dropped him in the 7th. You know, was doing this thing where he was, you know, fake pleading to the corner to stop the fight. Conor versus Florian Marku. I think Florian Marku's got some moves, but I don't know. I think that'd be a good fight actually. But yeah, Marku, he's not actually signed to anybody, is he? He just boxes everywhere, so that could be sorted. But Conor says he don't really want to fight him. He wants to do something else, so you can't really force him. But yeah, I'd like to see the Essuman fight, to be fair. But yeah, Lomachenko, Great performance. He was pleading to the corner to stop the fight, but he didn't finish the guy off. He didn't finish Comey off. So it's like, how hurt? You know, he was hurt, but your finishing ability. No, a few fights ago you would have got rid of him. So it went to points. The knockdown he did in the 7th was great though. It was on the inside. It was some proper short chopping over, chopping kind of left. That was a good knockdown. But I was looking at him thinking, okay, how would you fare against the other lightweights? Okay, Devin Haney, that would be just a pure boxing match. So that is a difficult one to call. But he wasn't really keen on fighting Devin, and it might be for some reason. You know, Devin's young and fresh. How would he get on with the new champion, George Kambosos? How would he get on going from Ukraine to Australia? It's still quite a big flight, but not as crazy as what the Americans have to do, I guess. But yeah. And then we had, so I'm thinking, Lomachenko's in the mix. Someone I'd like to see him in with is Tank Davis, because I know he'd have to be very alert because he ain't trying to take that kind of power. Who are you saying? Loma wins over Haney. Money for Haney. Won't make a lot. Loma beats Kambosos. You think so? Okay, interesting. I think people are still underrating Kambosos. He's just not giving the man. He's doing everything, and you can't get a break out here. Come on, mate. But yeah, Dmitry Bivol, he fought Umar Salamov out in Russia. 2 Russians. He beat him comfortably. Scorecards were like 118, 110, 118, 110, 119, 109. Do you know what I mean? And he has a habit of beating people by wide margins, apart from when he fought Craig Richards. Look, if we go through some of his best wins, Felix Valera, 119, 107, 119, 107, and he fought Sullivan Barrera. Took him out in the 12th round, but going into that, it was 100 to 109 times 3. Obviously dropped him, so it'd have been like 120, 107 had he made the final bell. Isaac Chilemba, who we know got a draw with Tony Bellew, a dubious one, and that scorecard was 120, 108 times 2, 116, 112. When he fought Jean Pascal, 119, 109, 119, 109, 117, 111. When he fought Joe Smith Jr., the current WBO champion, he's fighting Callum Johnson next month. Yeah, January, he's fighting him next month. That fight, when he fought Joe Smith Jr., that was 119, 109, 119, 109, 118, 110. When he fought Lenin Castillo, 119, 108, 120, 107, because he dropped Castillo, to remember as well. But when he fought Craig Richards, it was 115, 114, 115, 113. 1 point, 2 points. So people got to start putting some respect. Well, I think people are starting to now. But you're starting to realise the skill level and the IQ level. If he's losing by 1 or 2 points, and you've got the current WBO champion losing by 11 rounds to 1. Do you see what I'm saying? And guys like Isaac Chilemba losing a 12-round shutout. Isaac Chilemba, Isaac Chilemba. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. We've got Beterbiev. He's up this week. He's fighting Marcus Brown. That's going to be a good fight. I'd like to see Beterbiev and Bivol get it on for a Russian, a Russian unification. Beterbiev's best wins are like Jeff Page, Gabriel Campillo, Traverse Cloud. That was a good knockout. Enrico Colin, German guy. Callum Johnson. Alexander Govsiuk. That was his best win. That's the guy who beat Adonis Stevenson and injured him. But so on paper, Bivol does probably have the better CV, but a lot of people believe that Beterbiev would beat Bivol if they ever was to fight. Yeah, that one's gone under the radar, Ash. Beterbiev this week. That's in Canada, in Montreal. So yeah, shout out James. So yeah, let me get someone on now So that was that. So that was Danny Glover Fight Fan TV Live. Make sure you check out, like, subscribe. So Ash Jones, let's come.